Hello and welcome back, everybody. This is Chris Pfluger, your managing director here at IAD Florida. And I'm excited to talk to you today about a specific real estate topic. And so I have a very special guest joining me, Mr. Vic DeVore from DeVore Design. And Vic, I appreciate you taking the afternoon here and joining me and talking a little bit about what you're seeing going on in the marketplace, because you have a unique perspective dealing with agents from all different brands. While we think IED is the best brand in the world, obviously there are other brands, fortunately. And so people are working on a daily basis with clients. And as the market has shifted, and it's been a year and a half since people said, boy, I was getting 37 offers on every house I had out there. And it's tough work, right? It's tough work. I don't know what to do. The houses are selling too quickly. I think we're in a different market today, are we not?
Yeah, things have definitely changed. So I was talking to your producers ahead of this. Thank you, Katie and Cassie, by the way, for being behind the scenes and making all this happen. But we were talking about some of the challenges that I've had in the past maybe couple weeks. We had 120 booking requests in a 48-hour span. We've never had that kind of demand since I started the business back in 2015. So that is definitely a sign that there's obviously inventory coming to the market. And we know that there's already, days on market has kind of gone up a little bit. And DeVore Design is in an interesting position because we're on the leading edge. So we're on the pre-listing side, even before it's even a statistic in the MLS. We see, because we're going out getting photos and stuff before these things are even on the MLS. So we're seeing a big increase in booking requests for listing media and for home staging as well.
So that's a good point, right? So you're the leading edge, right? So you're a leading indicator of what's going on in the marketplace. And I know we've talked about it, in your opinion, at least in the Orlando market. So you cover Orlando, Tampa, Daytona, kind of that straight across the central part of Florida. And so you're seeing that happen in a lot of markets, right? It's not just one key market. These are three major markets within Florida, and Florida is doing better than the rest of the United States, right? In most of these cases. So the thing that we've had that was very unique here is we had almost no inventory, right? So we were at the point where there was nothing available and people were driving down and knocking on your door, to 88%, increases year over year in inventory, and your market probably in Orlando, probably 40-45%, right? But on one hand, that's great because at least there's something for people to buy when they want to move here. The bad part is not everybody's buying those properties, right? So with that in mind, right? So, a lot of our agents, a lot of the people watching did not live through the Great Recession. So prior to the Great Recession, it was fantastic, right? It was the same thing. You could not flip a house fast enough. You could ask any price, you're going to catch it. It was the good old days. It was the old Wild West of real estate. And then the entire freeze, the world froze on this end, the markets froze, and you couldn't get anything done. And there was massive amounts. I remember in Miami, there was, 200 years of condo inventory, some crazy figures. And then, 3 or 4 years later, it's 3 months. You're like, where did all the 300 years go of inventory?
Shift so fast.
But when you get in a market like that, you definitely have to become a professional, right? You have to be a real estate professional. You have to use all the tools at your disposal. You actually have to market and sell homes. You don't just slap up a sign and hope that you have 75 officers. So with that in mind, I would love to hear. So you guys do quite a few things, right? So you do, from everything from your beginning stage, photos. Everybody needs photos on their property, all the way to some unique items as well as home staging. So tell us a little about what you see that's a little bit different that agents may not be thinking of.
Yeah, so things that are working right now and that are giving properties kind of more exposure. I'm going to start with Zillow 3D, and I'm going to look off camera here for a moment because some of these stats are worth paying attention to. First off, let me just explain what Zillow 3D is. So Zillow 3D is it's a walkthrough, kind of a virtual walkthrough that we capture in the field at the property. We use a 360 camera, so there's 2 lenses on each side, and it gets like a image of the entire space, and you can virtually kind of walk through the entire property. A lot of real estate agents are familiar with Matterport, it's very similar to Matterport, but this is a specific service that is for Zillow. And I think that's important because Zillow does have, I know everybody has a love-hate relationship with Zillow in the real estate industry, but this particular service does give your listings a lot of extra exposure. And we charge $75. And actually, stay tuned. I'm going to give out a $50 promo code at the end of this broadcast. So that'll help you, basically get one of these for $25. The listings with Zillow 3D, they get 79% more saves, 72% more shares, 60% more views, and they're 10% more likely to go pending in 30 days. So if you think about those stats for a minute, like if there's a way for you to get 80% more saves, 72% more shares, why not? It's kind of like search engine optimization. If you have a website, you're going to do things to your website so Google will index it and put it at the top of the listing. Well, that's exactly what Zillow 3D does. It's almost like Zillow listing optimization, where they are putting listings that have Zillow 3D at the top of the search results. They're pushing that product to their buyers, to their viewers. So you may as well take advantage of that. It also does include a measured floor plan, which I think as a buyer is great. So this is this is my house. I work from home. This house was built in 82, and I actually did a measured floor plan when I moved in, right before I moved in, just so I had a floor plan, because I'm doing an addition over on the other side of the home. And honestly, it helped me draw everything out, map everything out, how I wanted the flow to go. So I think a lot of buyers appreciate the measured floor plans. But that's one of the things that I would recommend on all your listings. It doesn't matter if it's an entry level below average listing all the way up to a luxury listing. I think Zillow 3D is worth it. I've seen great results with it. I've got some very high volume clients that I gave them, just give it a try. They do it on all their listings now. It works. And it's, like I said, you could do it yourself. We charge $75. There's a lot of other media companies, whether you use DeVore Design or not, there's a lot of media companies that offer that as a service. And I strongly recommend you do it. Like I said, you can do it yourself too. You can download the Zillow 3D app, and then you can do it with your phone. And then something else, Chris, I think I should probably talk about home staging, right?
Yeah.
I mean, home staging is obviously, home staging is nothing new. Zillow 3D is a new service. Home staging's been around for a long time. There's some stats that I can share, but I mean, here's what I will tell you. Home staging makes a huge difference. I can tell you there's a handful of examples right off the top of my head. We staged, it was a $1 million listing in Mount Dora. It had expired. The previous, it expired with a previous listing agent. We took it over. I don't remember if it was a 6 or 12 month, but we didn't take it over. The new agent took it over. She demanded that the sellers moved their furniture out and that we staged the property. We staged that property, and it was under contract in about 6 weeks. So you had, and there was not a price reduction. So you had a 6-month period where there was nothing. And then the new agent demanded the staging and got it under contract and closed within less than 2 months. So that's just an example of how home staging can make such a huge difference.
So quick question for you on that.
Yeah, please.
Home staging. So on the Zillow 3D, I always ask, because you mentioned it could be on a lot of different properties. Is it something you'd recommend on every property, or only the ones you want to sell?
Well, you want to sell all of them, but
no, I'm being facetious. But is it something like, hey, is it worth it? I mean, for $75, it doesn't seem like it's a terribly high investment. It seems like you should do it almost every time.
Zillow 3D,
sometimes you don't need to.
Zillow 3D, I think you should do it every time. If I was a real estate agent, my background is digital marketing, and I've been in the marketing industry for over 20 years. If I was a listing agent, I would be doing Zillow 3D on every single listing, regardless of I guess the only thing you can't do it on would be vacant land, because there's nothing to tour. But yeah, if I had a $80,000 trailer or something that was, really below, I would still do it. I would still do it just to
And
make sure
on the
it
home
gets as much
staging, what do you
exposure.
think? Just are you seeing an upswing, an uptick in the amount of people looking for staging at this point?
Yeah. So home staging, that's our biggest growth on our side as a business has been home staging. And the home staging side's different. You're going to obviously stage homes. You're looking at around $2,000 on just to start with home staging. A rule of thumb, and this is a pretty accurate rule of thumb, is to take the square footage of the property, and it's about $1.25 or so per square foot. That's what your staging costs are. And how staging works, I'll give you all the details how staging works from cost to the duration. Every home staging company, they're going to have a length of contract. So for us, we typically give write our proposals with 60 days. So let's just do easy math here. Let's say it was a $2,000 staging, and let's say it was a 60-day staging. When you get to that 60 days, it's going to be 30% of the original contract price to renew
Hmm.
that on a monthly basis. And it's your choice. You don't have to. We can come out after 60 days and we can pull the furniture. One of the cool things about our home staging, whether you renew it or not, hopefully you don't have to renew it. Hopefully you get the thing under contract within 60 days. If you, we include media. I mean, obviously. So every home staging that we do, we include photos, video, drone. And then, of course, you can add on Zillow 3D and those types of things. In terms of who pays for home staging, a lot of times it's the sellers, it's the homeowners that pay for it, or it's split between the homeowner and the realtor. And I'm just saying that because we see who's making the payments for these
Right.
things. But a lot of times it's the homeowner that makes the payments. And you'd know better than me. I don't know what those agreements are on the back end with, how people are reimbursed or whatnot. But I know it's not something that comes out of the agent's pocket up front typically. So, that's something to consider. The other cool part about home staging with us and most home stagers is that you can call a home stager to come out and give you a consultation for free. When we go out, we do a consultation. We have a home stager go out, look at the property, and provide a proposal. I mean, and there's no cost to at least find out what your options are. And when you talk to your home stager, you should have this seller should be involved in that process as much as you think they should. Obviously, every seller is a little different, but if if there's something specific that you think that the stager should focus on, it's good to have that conversation up front. That way, exactly kind of what you're getting into. But your average cost of home staging about $1.25 per square foot, and then you're in a 60-day contract. If you need 90, we can price that in. If you think that that's where you're going to be. There's some companies that do less than 60. There's some companies that do 90. It's all over the place. We've kind of settled in where we settled in.
And you said what you're seeing is a lot of times, in the past, especially the last several years, where the contract would, we would actually move the furniture out prior to because the home sold so quickly. Whereas today, you're starting to see them renew those contracts. So that's another indication that we're seeing some days on market here. So just a point. A lot of unrealistic sellers too. I've heard a lot of conversations with people saying, "Boy, I don't know why we're selling this property at this price, but I'm taking the listing because I need to get the listing, but I'm trying to get it more realistic in the process." My response is always the same. It's good to have an honest conversation up front because I'm not into putting out signs and doing a lot of media for fun. We're here to sell the property, and mispricing is one of the cardinal sins of real estate, right? Is putting it out there too high in a market that's dropping and hope to catch that falling knife is not the best strategy. So,
yeah. And, and I have heard agents talk about, they're taking a listing that they even think is too high and then hesitating to put marketing into it because they don't think, they think it's going to be too much of a challenge. But I could almost look at that a different way too. If you're marketing something that is going to be difficult to sell, you may have to invest a little bit
of
into it
course, you go the other
to
way.
try
Yeah.
to to give it the best opportunity as possible. And something that I want to also mention too, we're talking about listings right now. We're talking about, you have a listing and these are the options that you have to hopefully get the best ROI on that listing. But something else that you can leverage from your listings to make sure that you're keeping your pipeline full of opportunities is getting the most opportunity from your listings and leveraging more media out of it. And a real good example, let's say you did have a home professionally staged. That's a great opportunity to have a branding photo session. Here you are, you've got a beautiful property with trendy furniture in it. Why not have, and again, whether it's DeVore Design, you have your own photographer, whoever, whatever it is, but have a branding photo session at the property. Nobody's going to know the difference, but
Right.
you can actually get some social media content, whether it's video, whether it's just still pictures even. And that's going to give you that opportunity to leverage more listings from that, from that one listing. The other thing I think is a good idea is to get reels out of your listings. So we have like a number of different packages. One of the packages that we have, super popular, it's called our full bundle. It's photos, video, and drone. We actually include a very rudimentary 20-minute or 20-second reel. We don't put music on it. We don't put any titles or anything on it, but it's like a 20 to 30-second reel, and it's video through the property. And we give that to our clients so they can download it, put whatever trending music they want. They can put a title on it, new listing, coming soon, whatever they want to do. But it's a way to just get a little bit more mileage and a little bit more exposure for yourself. Because, whether or not you're going to sell the listing to your social media audience is one thing. But when you engage with your audience, you're giving yourself an opportunity to earn more business later down the road. And I really think it's important to look at every single listing and how you can leverage that listing into more opportunities. It's not going to get any easier. It never does. I've been through ups and downs in my own business. It's the basics, and you have to always consider the path of least resistance to get more opportunities. And it's those current opportunities that you have right now, which, if it's listings, that's fantastic. Those are opportunities for you to get more exposure for yourself, get more exposure for your brand, and really get more opportunities later down the road. Because again, it's not this quarter that you're worried about when it comes to engaging your social media audience. It's the next quarter and the quarter after that, because that's how long those kinds of things can take to really show opportunity.
Well, Vic, I have to say this has been very, very educational, because there's a lot of different topics, a lot of different points we touched on. And, really, I think you mentioned it earlier pre-game here was, you're really trying to become the agents as top of mind with clients. A lot of times you'll find, agents out there that said, listen, my cousin used another agent because they forgot that I was in the business. And then I can tell you whose fault that is, just in case you were wondering. And if you're not putting out material, you're not putting out, ongoing conversations, even with your friends and family, they tend to think, oh, either you're too busy or you don't do those type of properties. And that's on you, right? So I would agree with you. Being top of mind, even with your own family, friends, and everything else is absolutely critical. But, utilizing what's going to work in the short term as well as leveraging that long term, that's how you stay in the business for a career. So
yeah, exactly. And I want to give a $50 promo code too.
Let's do it.
So IAD 50. And Katie, Cassie, if you can put that up on the screen, that'd be awesome.
There it is.
If not, no pressure. Oh, there it is. Perfect. IAD 50. That'll give you $50 off. You have to use it between now and August 31st. So hopefully you got some listings coming. And if DeVore Design is able to be your partner through that process, we would greatly appreciate it. So thank you, Chris, by the way, for the opportunity to join you here. I really do thank you for this.
Hey, Vic, I appreciate you being out here. Great information. Something, if it wasn't new to the agents, it's a great reminder. I have a feeling that was a lot of times, good information, good current information everyone should be leveraging. And again, if it's a reminder, it's really a discipline that everybody should be following, but not necessarily are. But again, for a few extra dollars, you can really take your career to the next level and really show your clients your professionalism. So I always appreciate anyone who works in and around the industry, and I appreciate you joining us today at the IAD Live. So
Thank you, Chris.
have a good one.
You too.